Most men find themselves trapped in a cycle of confusion, desperately seeking love, validation, and happiness from women. This often leads to heartbreak, emotional exploitation, or feeling cornered in unfulfilling relationships. Yet, over 200 years ago, philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer exposed a brutal truth about human nature, a reality most men are unwilling to accept. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly where you've been misled and how you can finally reclaim control of your life. This isn't just a controversial idea, it's the missing key that most men will never grasp. The biological illusion of love. Schopenhauer didn't believe in fairy tales. He saw love for what it truly is, a biological trick, a powerful illusion designed by nature for a single, ruthless purpose: reproduction. When you feel that powerful attraction or the conviction that a woman is the one, your brain isn't making a deep, spiritual connection. It's making a subconscious calculation, assessing fertility, genetic compatibility, and the potential for a new generation. He wrote, "Love is the ultimate goal of almost all human effort." But he didn't mean this romantically. He saw love as a temporary chemical high that fades the moment its biological purpose is served. Consider how many men have destroyed themselves for a woman who later walked away without a second thought, or how many marriages crumble once the initial passion vanishes. This isn't a coincidence, it's nature's design. Women don't choose men based on loyalty, kindness, or fairness. They follow an ancient, hardwired selection program that seeks status, security, and superior genetics. A man's devotion means nothing if he cannot provide these fundamental resources. This isn't misogyny, it's an evolutionary observation. Look at modern dating apps where a small percentage of men receive the most attention. Look at history, where kings and warriors were betrayed by mistresses for greater power. The pattern doesn't change because the underlying biology doesn't. The tyranny of the weak. Most men are conditioned to believe that love is a transaction. If they sacrifice enough, care enough, and prove their worth, they'll be rewarded with a woman's affection. However, Schopenhauer warned, to be loved, one must not be just, but clever. Women aren't attracted to nice, they're attracted to strength, not just physical, but social, financial, and psychological. This is why the nice guy often finishes last. He misunderstands the game, believing love is earned through servitude, while women are instinctively drawn to men who don't need to serve. Have you ever noticed how a woman's interest can wane once a man is secured, and the dynamic of the chase reverses? Schopenhauer called this the tragedy of possession. The thrill isn't in having a person, it's in the conquest. Once the conquest is over, biology moves on. This is why men who become clingy or make a woman the center of their world will inevitably watch her walk away. Here's the crucial point: this isn't a woman's fault. It's nature's design. The man who understands this stops blaming and starts strategizing. Schopenhauer's lesson isn't about hating women, it's about seeing them clearly. It's about recognizing that love isn't a fantasy, it's a negotiation. And the man who negotiates from a position of weakness will lose every time. The path to true power. This is where Schopenhauer's wisdom becomes truly revolutionary. His ultimate lesson is this: the most dangerous lies aren't the ones women tell men, they're the ones men tell themselves. The modern man makes one fatal error: he believes happiness and fulfillment come from external validation, particularly from women. Schopenhauer saw through this illusion. He taught that the happiness we receive from ourselves is greater than that which we obtain from our surroundings. The men who truly thrive aren't those who conquer women, but those who conquer themselves. They develop a purpose so consuming and intrinsically rewarding that female attention becomes a pleasant bonus, not a desperate necessity. History's most remarkable men, the artists, the inventors, the warriors, weren't distracted by the chase for female approval. They were too busy building empires. Here are the 3 pillars of unshakable masculinity. Economic sovereignty: a man who controls his finances controls his fate. Financial independence provides the freedom to pursue purpose without compromise. Philosophical depth: cultivate a mind sharp enough to cut through societal lies and external narratives. The exceptional man reads, debates, and thinks for himself. Physical mastery: the body isn't just a tool for attraction, it's the vessel of your will. Weakness in the body breeds weakness in the mind and spirit. The man who stops begging for love, approval, or fairness suddenly finds these things are drawn to him naturally. Why? Because he has removed himself from the desperate masses and become the prize himself. The battle between men and women isn't personal, it's a biological theater that has been playing out for millennia. The man who wakes up to this reality stops blaming and starts evolving. He doesn't resent female nature, he adapts to it. He builds a life so compelling that women must either rise to meet his standards or watch from the sidelines. The choice is yours. Will you continue chasing illusions, or will you step into your true power? The red pill isn't about hating women, it's about loving the truth enough to rebuild yourself in its image. This is where your real life begins. Escaping illusion and rising untouchable. Most men today live inside a cage they cannot see. Not a cage of steel, but of illusions. They chase love as though it were salvation, crave validation as though it were air, and hand over their peace of mind to the fleeting attention of women. It is an old tragedy, as ancient as history itself, yet still repeated with blind obedience by men who should know better. Over 2 centuries ago, Arthur Schopenhauer had the courage to expose this reality. He stripped away the poetry, the fairy tales, and the comforting lies. He revealed what most men are too afraid to accept: love is not the eternal, sacred flame men imagine it to be. It is a trick of biology. A temporary madness engineered by nature to ensure reproduction. And yet, men continue to sacrifice their sanity, their money, and even their lives for it. This truth is not meant to crush you, it is meant to free you. Because the moment you recognize the illusion, you are no longer enslaved by it. You are no longer trapped in the script written by biology and reinforced by society. From that point on, you can choose differently. You can live differently. The cage of illusion. Think back on your own life. How many choices have you made under the spell of love? How many hours wasted, how much money burned, how many nights shattered by betrayal, rejection, or loneliness? And for what? For a feeling designed by nature to vanish the moment its purpose is served. Men bankrupt themselves chasing women. They throw away friendships, abandon dreams, and crush their potential, all because they believe that once they find the one, everything else will fall into place. But what actually happens? The passion burns for a while, then, inevitably, it cools. What once felt divine becomes routine. And too often, it ends in bitterness. This is not bad luck. It is not a curse. And it is not the fault of women. It is simply nature doing its work. The moment you understand this, you stop being a pawn in the game. You stop following rules designed to keep you enslaved. Love as a biological trick. Schopenhauer was clear-eyed: love is not spiritual, it is biological. When you feel that magnetic pull toward a woman, what's really happening? Your body is running silent calculations: fertility, health, genetic compatibility. You think it's destiny. In truth, it's DNA. That overwhelming rush of desire, that obsessive longing, that sleepless intoxication, this is not romance. It is chemical warfare. Nature does not care about your happiness, it only cares that the species continues. And once reproduction is achieved, the magic fades. This is why so many men, years into a relationship, wake up next to someone who feels like a stranger. The illusion has dissolved, and only reality remains. The tyranny of weakness. But biology is not the only trap. A deeper danger destroys men far more effectively: weakness. Most men enter the arena of love from desperation. They imagine it as a fair exchange, that if they are kind enough, patient enough, loyal enough, they will be rewarded with devotion. They mistake love for a contract of fairness. But Schopenhauer warned, to be loved, one must not be just, but clever. Women are not drawn to men who beg for affection. They are drawn to strength, psychological, physical, financial, and social. This is why the so-called nice guy fails. Not because women are cruel, but because women are wired to seek survival advantages. A man who shrinks, who builds his entire world around a woman, radiates weakness. And weakness repels. You've seen this pattern: the moment a woman fully possesses a man, her desire begins to fade. The chase is over, the thrill dies, and her attention drifts elsewhere. Schopenhauer called this the tragedy of possession. What excites is not having, but conquering. Beyond blame, the Stoic turn. Here is where many men fall into bitterness. They learn this truth and decide, women are the enemy. But Schopenhauer, though cynical, was not preaching hatred. He was preaching clarity. The truth is not an excuse to rage, it is a call to strategy. To stop wasting your life fighting nature, and to start aligning yourself with it. To stop blaming women for being what they are, and to start mastering yourself. When you accept that love is an illusion, a negotiation, you stop being deceived. You stop begging. You stop clinging. You stop expecting fairness in a game that was never fair to begin with. This is the Stoic shift, reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. The path to true power. So what now? Once stripped of illusions, you are left facing a brutal truth, but within that truth lies the seed of liberation. The man who understands the game no longer plays it on nature's terms. He rises above it. He redirects the energy wasted on desperation and turns it into power. Schopenhauer's lesson is not despair, but strength. The happiest men are not those who conquer women, but those who conquer themselves. Those who stop outsourcing their joy and build it within. Those who define their lives not by conquest, but by creation. This path rests on three unshakable pillars. 1. Economic sovereignty. Money is not about status, it is about freedom. The man who commands his finances cannot be commanded by anyone else. He does not remain in toxic relationships out of fear. He does not beg for approval. His wealth is his shield. Every dollar saved, invested, or earned with wisdom is another layer of armor around his independence. 2. Philosophical depth. The modern world is built on lies, romantic, political, consumerist. The man without depth is swept away by all of them. Cultivate a sharp mind. Read Schopenhauer. Read Marcus Aurelius. Read history, psychology, and finance. Question everything. A man who can cut through illusion will never be blindsided by truth. 3. Physical mastery. Your body is the foundation of your will. A weak body breeds a weak spirit. Train relentlessly. Every rep, every drop of sweat, every test of endurance whispers the same truth: I am in control. A strong body builds a strong mind, and a strong mind creates an indomitable life. Becoming the prize. The moment you stop chasing, everything changes. The dynamic reverses. The sovereign man, disciplined in wealth, mind, and body, radiates strength. He no longer crawls for validation, because he has built his own. He has become the prize. And here lies the great irony: once you no longer need love to complete you, it often comes uninvited. Not because you begged, but because you became. Not because you chased, but because you built. The red pill of reality. The true red pill is not bitterness toward women. It is loyalty to truth. Women will not save you. Romance will not fulfill you. Validation will not complete you. The only path forward is inward: mastery, sovereignty, purpose. Once you accept this, you stop being a victim. You stop being deceived. You stop being weak. You stop being a boy waiting for approval and rise as a man shaping his own destiny. The final challenge. Now the sword lies before you. What will you do? Continue as you always have, chasing illusions, living for scraps of validation, dying in quiet slavery? Or will you rise? Will you cut off the old self, the desperate, approval-starved boy, and forge yourself into the man you were meant to be? The path is not easy. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you wage war, not against women, but against illusion, weakness, and the biological chains holding you down. The battlefield is your own soul. Schopenhauer gave you the map. The Stoics gave you the weapons. The choice is yours: remain in chains or step into sovereignty. Where your life truly begins. Most men will ignore this message. They will retreat into comfortable lies, endlessly chasing women, endlessly wounded by the same cycle. They will live and die as prisoners. But a rare few will awaken. A rare few will see the truth, embrace it, and rise above it. They will refuse to live as beggars in a rigged game. Be among the few. Become the man nature cannot manipulate, society cannot enslave, and women cannot control. This is where life truly begins, not in her arms, not in her validation, not in her approval, but in your sovereignty. The man who masters himself needs nothing. And because he needs nothing, he can have everything.